Education, Laurie.
Hello, Jacqueline.
Hello. Hello, Laurie Kilmartin. #1 album on iTunes and Amazon.
Ooh.
Well,
Woohoo.
okay. I don't know how to measure. First of all, it's very. I've been
Just say thank you very much and go.
no, wait. So yeah, for #1 for a day, right? And then went
Mm-hmm.
down to 2, and then went down Bo Burnham, which not surprisingly would be #1, right?
Right.
And then it went down to 3. #2 became Ninja Sex Party, which is
Which,
I guess a comedy band,
okay.
and they have songs. And then so I was 3, and that I bumped up to 2 again. So Ninja
Mm-hmm.
Party is
Mm-hmm.
3 again. But chasing all of us at #4 is someone named Wendy Ho,
Yeah.
and her album Greatest Shits. And the
Right.
cover
Right.
is her sitting on a toilet. And I have to tell you, I've never respected an artist more in my life. This lady knows who buys comedy albums.
Right. It is. That is so hilarious, especially the toilet fetishists
Oh my
who are
God.
like,
And
thank God there's a picture of this lady on the toilet.
yes, and my first track is called Human Shit because that's
Yeah.
what you had to step over to get into the club that night.
I
It's
listened to it this
possible-
week.
What?
I listened to your album this week
Oh,
on
you
Pandora.
did?
Yeah. hmm I was driving up to the Moms.
You've heard it all before, so
I know, but I wanted to hear the version.
okay.
It was great.
Wow.
It is great.
Oh,
So
is it? Oh, okay. You
Hello,
there was like
Corset.
a pause. I'm like, okay, I'll just fill it. If you didn't like the album, I'm fine. No problem.
right. I realized the next statement either had to be anyway, or it was great, which it is great. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and that. But it's so funny because to be #1 on all of those things, it just reminds me of my dad's thing about lie about just make up awards. No one
Yeah.
checks.
Yeah.
And so, but in this case, I mean, you're #1, for the whole day, which you can get the screenshot.
Yeah.
You can screenshot the fact that there's 10 million downloads of your stand up on Pandora.
Well, maybe I don't know what Pandora is, but here's the thing. Like, also, my manager Bruce said, the market for people who download albums is very tiny. Because I was looking at the rest of the top 15. It's Dane Cook's 2003 album, Harmful If Swallowed. It's Bill Burr at 2010. It's a lot of old albums, and it feels like who's buying albums, if you look at the top 15, are 45-year-old white men who want to remember what it's like to be in their 20s. Because all of the other, besides me and Miss Ho, it was all white guys. But that's not who's that's not like young
who's
people.
filling stadiums.
Well, kind of it is, but it was all of their older stuff. It was really strange. There was no Chappelle or anything like that. It was a lot of older white guy stuff. And so
right.
I think part of what helped me is a track called Human Shit. Track titles are so important. And I had like a sexy photo,
right.
And I was I was in water. Wendy's on a toilet, but you do see the linkage. If you are near some sort of fluid, it's going to help you. That's what I say.
Well, then I am screwed in 2 weeks. It's my picture is there's I don't have like a boob or anything, or I just it's just a bunch of people in 3D glasses and masks.
Could you make one of them? They're all sitting. Could you make one of them sitting on a toilet with their boobs out? It doesn't have to be you.
Photoshop is amazing. Someone get on that. That'd be great. And then I can actually 800 Pound Gorilla sent me a really cool asset of they picked one of the people.
Yeah.
And so it's a really cool still image of they picked one of the people in the
neat.
In the stock photo, and I've already posted it because I found it to be very cool.
Yeah,
and
cool.
It's interesting you mentioned. So I did a bunch of sets. I had no sets, no shows, and then Friday, I asked Josh if I could go up at Yoo-Hoo, and he was like, or at Flappers, and he was like, you can do both Yoo-Hoo shows. So I did the 7:30 and the 9:30. And this guy is a good guy, and he didn't say anything terrible. I'm just going to type his name because he doesn't need it. He's,
Okay.
he's essentially he's a good haircut is what this guy is. You know this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a good guy. Good, great comic. Work the road.
Mhm.
Been doing it for some time, but he for some reason wanted to discuss all the things that Chappelle and
Oh, okay.
CK and this fuck.
Wow.
And I know it went on for quite some time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
and it went, and so he told me, and I did not know this. I did not. The interesting anecdote is that I guess because you know how I always say that Louis C.K. I want Louis C.K. to have written the bit.
Yeah.
He writes
What?
the bit
What?
about the terrible thing he did.
Oh,
It
right,
will
right.
he will process it. It will eventually be funny.
Yeah.
He will realize what he did wrong and blah blah. But he
Right.
will not. And so that guy told me that he actually does have a bit, and it's a bit about how, well, I guess you can change your mind in the once you've said yes.
Oh, that's his take on.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I said to Michael Gell, which is your joke, I said, yes, that's how it is with absolutely everything. You can borrow my iPhone. Oh, I want it back. I need it now. You can't.
Oh, my joke about my kid. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so it literally was like a light bulb went off on this guy's head. He was like,
Yeah.
it is like that with everything. Yes, absolutely. Even when your dick is hard, people can say, "No, I don't want to do this anymore," and
Right.
you have to respect that and go, "Okay." Or you're like, "Oh, I need my iPhone back." They're exactly the same. Even though it's more exciting that your dick is hard, there's no difference.
Yeah.
Those, yeah, it's still that's the consent thing. That's why.
Wow. I mean, what a takeaway.
Yeah, right.
What-
But I
you
was
know,
looking
it's
at him going, yeah. Oh, it's interesting that he never saw that.
no insight whatsoever. Wow. I mean, because it's, I feel like some of us are capable of changing and growing, so we assume everybody is. Like,
Hmm.
we could look back and go, oh, man, I was a total thoughtless asshole, and I'm less of one now. I still am one, but I've
Yeah,
reduced it by 20%, right?
right, right.
And
It's a freaking
we
learned
assume
skill.
other people our age, other comics our age would look back. I don't know. It's just like I think we all of us going, oh man, Louis will write a really cool chunk about realizing what a dick he is, and it'll be transformational, and it
Yeah,
would have been.
and would have
It's
been
too
and would
late
have
now.
right and helpful. You know,
Yeah.
it was Dave Reinitz at Flappers the other night. He said, I have to tell you that I think that your spooky reading girl bit is incredibly helpful for people who don't have no definition of friendship. and and I was like, "Oh,
Aw.
that's very sweet." And it feels like one of those timeless jokes. I haven't been able to find it, but I because I was thinking, the spooky reading girl bit. I don't want to continue to do it just
Mhm,
because it's a good bit, but it just I want to do new bits, obviously,
mhm.
but the T-shirt, people are like, I would still like that T-shirt, and I still have pins, but um it occurs to me Chad Daniels has a new T-shirt that says because his joke that kind of blew people's minds and kind of taught that was his drive safe, don't rape bit.
Uh-huh.
Do you know that bit?
No, uh-uh. I
Okay,
don't think
well,
so.
I
Wait, maybe I have listened to it.
right. Well, I can't. I was looking for the album that it was on so that I could reference it better. But it's essentially about when his son got his driver's license.
Yeah.
His son would leave the house, and the last thing that he would say to his son was, "Drive safe, don't rape anyone.
That's great.
Drive safe, don't rape."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so he sold a bumper sticker forever, and now he has a T-shirt that says it.
Wow.
And I was like, "Well, I could sell spooky shirts forever, I guess."
Sure. I mean, it's always a good message.
Yeah,
Huh. I don't
yeah,
have a shirt. I don't know if I want to
yeah.
deal with shirts.
Right, you wanted to get into the heavy book merch industry. You're like, could everything
Yeah.
weigh 11 ounces that I walk around with?
They each weigh a pound, I think, a little
Oh,
under.
do they? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's 15 ounces.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
So, well, yeah, so like, I think like usually if you can have a pre-order date for your album, you can sort of juice up, gin up like the number one thing, right?
okay.
I don't know. I'm not really sure. I don't know how meaningful. It's almost like Montreal where you're like, "Oh, that'd be cool." And then you get it and then maybe you get the check and you're like, "Oh."
Right, right.
Because Apple takes 30%. So an album is $9.99, which is
Okay.
astonishingly, that's what they've been costing for 20 years. Like,
Well,
of
since
course,
Apple's, yeah.
stand-up comedy never gets more expensive for the customer. It only gets it like everything, and comics never seem to make more. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
feature
So
money.
then there's $7 left after the 30 if they're $10 and
Yes.
Apple takes
I guess I'm
okay.
I'm veering off track, and we have such a limited amount of time that Jackie wants to keep me on the same path that I
I
was
just want to hear
originally
the
talking
rest of the
about.
math because I think
So
because
here's the thing. So we'll have seven, right, to play with, but Gorilla gets half of that, so 350.
hmm
So and then I have to give 10% to Bruce. So I'm looking at like $3 per album sale. So I don't
I
even know if there's 100 album sales, or if people are listening, they're on Pandora or Sirius or excuse me, or Spotify. I don't really know. I guess I'll
why
find.
why do you give 10% to Bruce? Did he
Yeah.
produce it?
Mhm. Well, yeah, he's my manager, so he gets 10% of that.
I never did that.
Maybe that's why you don't have representation.
No, I had representation for 15. Wow. All right then. I'm worthy. I'm
Someone's been
worthy.
sending you bills for 20 years that you've been thrown away.
No, it's the deal I made with my manager was if she got me the work, she got 10%. If she didn't get me the work, she didn't get the money.
Well, I think I know what you're saying, but I think mostly,
But
usually, the
other
umbrella
people give
is
yeah.
everything when you're with me, right? Uh, from
Okay.
then on. I
All
think
right.
that's more common.
Okay. Maybe.
Like,
Yeah.
although I wouldn't like the old 45 jokes, any 45 jokes money and stuff isn't covered on that, but anything that I got or he got from when we started working together
Okay.
is covered under that, I think.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
And
But I think if you were to retain management, that would be the deal. I think that's why somebody might not be excited to manage you, because they're only getting a percentage of what they get.
again, nobody nobody is not excited to not
Well,
manage me.
no, but you mentioned she. I don't know who she was who was managing you, but I
We parted ways. It was
right,
mutual 5 years
right,
ago. We both had a tiny temper tantrum.
right.
And I was and I think I said and she managed me for like 10, 12 years and she's a great manager, by the way. And it's so funny because I didn't
Right.
want yeah, and she was
Well,
great. And
had
I was just
had
going to say that I thought that she wasn't doing enough. She knew that she was doing as much as she could. That and so we I had a tiny fender bender when we broke up. And I said, "Well, I guess maybe this isn't working out." And she's like, "Maybe it isn't." And so we parted ways and we are still friends.
well,
And
well,
yeah,
I wonder though, if you had been giving her 10% of everything you got too, that if that had made her.
you'd like to think that. Yes.
That's what I'm counting on.
Yeah, you're hoping that that's what's doing. Anyway, I was just curious at the deal. I'm always curious about the deal.
I know. That's
So
that's the deal. Yeah.
that's and so yeah, I am hoping. Well, I think the albums are kind of like 40. You know, I think the specials, right? The videos. We
Yeah.
always think that they're going to matter immediately, and they don't. It takes like a year and a half. It's sort of cumulative, and then it sort of pops, and people are like, "Oh, you have that great thing that you did." And I remember when in 2003, when I got my half-hour special from Comedy Central, I was like, "This is going to change my life. Everybody who never headlined me is totally going to headline me." And 3 years later, more people headlined me because of it.
Wow.
It was
Yeah.
annoying. It was
Right.
annoying as hell, and yet it did eventually help.
Right.
So the problem with this industry is there's patience that you don't want to deal with, and there's some sort of like a 5-year window of maybe when you make the most money in your life, right?
Right.
And you don't know when it's going to be. You don't know when it's starting.
Don't
You don't know
spend it
when
on
it
a new
ends.
car. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, don't buy the mansion because you don't know if you're going to have mansion money in 5 years. And who wants to fucking live in a mansion? Anyway, I did.
I don't know
Yep.
about real estate. Real estate always seems to go up at some point, but never buy a new car. Never buy a new car.
Unless it's the toy that you want, right? Like
All
if
right. I don't
that's
think
your
Jay Leno
toy.
listens to this podcast, but
Or Byron Bowers. Actually, I think Byron Bowers he refurbs old cars, which is kind of cool.
sounds like, does he get in and tinker and actually physically?
Yeah, like
that's a different thing.
that's cars are his like you're saying from an investment point of view, a new car is dumb. Because it loses all its value once you drive it off the lot anyway.
Yeah,
so.
and a used car will do exactly what a new car does.
Right. So unless you're totally into cars, yeah, it's Are you? How's your car search? Is your car working just fine?
I'm not searching. Why are you obsessed with my mother's car and me getting rid of it? It's fine.
You brought it up.
I
just
didn't
wanted
bring it up.
You brought up cars. It makes me think that you drive a death trap. You drive a death trap. I'm just going to say it out loud.
What are you talking about? It's a 2009 Corolla. It's fine. It's in good shape.
Okay. Excellent. You haven't had to put any money into it?
No.
Okay. Well, then you're fine.
You have a 2008 Honda, right?
No, mine's a 2015. I'm not, and it's a Corolla as well. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's pretty sweet. But and we keep them for about 10 years. I would keep it like you until the fenders fell off, and because I don't care about cars either. But Andy is like 10 years, and then you get a new 2-year-old, 3-year-old car.
Okay.
And then you start again. And I was like, okay. I'll do whatever I don't care. If you're willing to sit through a 5-hour sales situation at a car dealership, you can do whatever you want. I hate buying cars. It should take an hour. I don't know why it takes 5 hours.
Yes. But okay, but there is a time when you're making the most money, but you don't know when it is, because you always think, well, there'll be more on the horizon. But only when you get to your 80s will you go, oh man, that was a good decade.
Yeah, that was it. Right. You're like, oh man, 47 to 52. It was an amazing 5 years.
Wish I'd known that at 53 when I went on vacation.
Right. When I should have been asking GE for stock. And yeah, so I did Andy Richter's podcast this week.
Oh, cool.
And I did and so I hired Jess, the PR, to sign me up for podcasts, and she's got me doing 3 podcasts a day for the next 2 weeks.
Wow.
Like 3 or 4 days where I have to do 3 of them, because other days are already busy.
Right.
So I have done 3 podcasts. I think I have 9 more set. She's going to try to I know. I'm going to New York the 6th to the 16th. That's when I'm going to New York City of January.
Oh, of January. Okay.
I booked my flight. I have a place to stay.
Okay.
We're doing the show at the Bell House on the 16th. I leave the 17th.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go to Mark Ridley's the following weekend. So
he doesn't work me.
He's never worked me. He hasn't worked me since '99.
Wow. So, what do you think changed?
TJ Markwalter, who gets 10% of my money. Yes.
Okay,
And it's,
cool.
I don't know how he got him to do it, but in 97, he booked me and then he said, "You're too much like Kathleen Madigan." And I believe I said back, which might have been part of the problem, "Yeah, why would you want that?" And I'm not. But yes.
Oh my God. It's it the mind-boggling amounts of white male comedy headliners he had that all did the same exact joke about women going to the bathroom in pairs, but you
Right.
have the same accent as Kathleen Madigan. So it can't work. It's not like you'd be on stage at the same time or even back to back, you know.
We've been thinking about doing a Sklar Brothers kind of thing, Kathleen Madigan and I. Even though she's like literally probably, 70
She's in
pounds lighter
Nashville.
than me and
I'm
wears
assuming
high
living her
heels.
best life in a
Oh,
in a
she's living her
castle
best
in
life.
Nashville.
She golfs, which I always
Yeah.
thought was a thing that would get me work too, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I think I don't think it hurts, but yeah, had no interest. And they always had the golf comics always had to drive with their giant golf clubs. Like that was their carry-on. I just was like, why would you have a habit like that? It's
Mhm.
it's awful. But they're all millionaires or more, and so what do we know?
What do we know? We're
You know
just
what? One
plugging
of our
along.
Patreons posted on our Patreon board that he had watched Nannette, right, on Hannah Gadsby's first special on Netflix,
Yeah.
and then the You Also Might Likes, the first 20 were male comics,
Whoa.
and then a couple female comics, and it was 5 total female comics, different ones, and 39
As they kept scrolling.
yeah, 39 male comics, different ones. Like, God bless Whitney and Eliza for continuing to get specials. Good for them. But there's other people. Like, there's no variation in the amount of female comics.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, we'll give another one to the same 2 we've given 7 to.
Yeah.
Like, there's other people out here, and we're all pretty good. Why can't people choose between 39 female headliners? Because we're all out here.
Yeah. It's true. I wish they did, but were they 6 different women comics?
6 different women. No, 6 different female specials and 5 different women. So one of them might have been
doubled
Hannah's
up.
But
yeah.
Hannah's other special didn't even come up next after.
Oh my
she
gosh.
did something called Douglas, and that apparently didn't come up for 20 specials.
Oh my God.
Like they couldn't conceive that you'd want to see her again. You obviously need to see 20 men to undo the damage that she did to you with 1 hour of Nannette. Crazy. And then we have to listen to these fucking big mouths complain that they don't have freedom of speech. We don't even have the platform to be canceled for our material.
Right.
I got some bad jokes I'd love to put on Netflix. Okay? I got a lot of them.
Somebody, who was it I was talking to? I was, because last night I did, it must have been at the Improv, but I did Dynasty typewriter, and then I did the Improv Lab last night. And somebody came up to me and was talking about how they worked with you, and they described your set as pitch black. And
when? Where?
I think it was just a random 10-minute set that they were like, Laurie Kilmartin, it was so funny, but it was pitch dark, man. It was pitch black.
Well, in a 10-minute set, I am going to get dark. I do soften it in longer sets because it's too much for people.
Right. Nobody needs 45 minutes of, and then, and at the end of it, you're like, and here's the gun. And, so it's, that is a lot. So, I'm going to Minneapolis this weekend. You're doing Acme in December, right?
I am doing Acme in December.
That's great. I'm just doing their 30-year anniversary thing. So,
fun.
I'm gonna,
this week was like weird. Like, so Conan officially ended for me this week. Like we were kind of kept
end of October.
Yes, to work on a possible HBO show, but I think he just kind of wants to, kind of just see what he wants to do. I totally understand. Like, you can't do something for 28 years and then immediately do something brand new. You just got to let your brain just rest, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so a couple of us were kept on just in case,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that time's over. So now it's like real. And and my son turned 15 this week, and we drove up
Wow.
to. I know.
15?
I know he's going to be driving my death trap apparently in here. And then we
All
drove
right.
up yesterday, or excuse me, on Thursday night, we drove up to the Bay Area to put my mother's ashes, the majority of them, in the niche next to my dad.
In the death trap?
No, I rented a car. I rented.
Oh,
I
thank
always
God.
rent because yeah, we did an Airbnb in Moraga, which I don't know. I don't know if you know the East Bay, but Moraga, like there's Orinda, which is super super wealthy, and it's right near the
Orinda.
Caldecott Tunnel before you get into Alameda and Oakland. And
Okay.
then kind of next to it is Moraga, which is wealthy, and then it gets wild, where you're all of a sudden in county land and it's unpaved, and people have propane gas tanks, but also gigantic houses. They have massive properties. Anyway, this lady had an Airbnb, and while we drove up, and we got there like at 10 p.m. at night, and I felt like I was driving off a cliff the entire time because there's no lights, there's no street lights.
Oh,
It's
right.
just the lights of this.
And is it
mini-.
cliffside?
No, but everything's pitch black, and it looks like killers will come out of like there's trees everywhere.
Yeah.
It's Halloween, right?
Yeah.
And we couldn't find it, and then we finally found it, and it was nice. But just to be around, just like I live right next to a freeway, you know, you can't get the sound of cars out of your head here, and then just to be with just only crickets, pitch black at night, you know, no lights.
Yeah.
You know, it's terrifying, but we had Charmy with us, so I felt okay.
You felt safe. You felt safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but it was very nice to get away. And then
You
the
rented a car with it that allowed a dog?
Yeah, I told
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, you know, when you go on the road so much, you rent a lot of cars, and one of the normal things that they're like, no smoking, no pets, no smoking, no pets. So I guess if you just tell them, they're like, oh, okay, well, no,
Yeah,
now
so
we
she
know.
doesn't have any hair or anything like that, you know.
Right.
Not shedding and stuff. But yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
can we do a break?
Yeah, let's do that.
And then we can also do a comic of the week, if that's all right.
already?
Yeah, I think we're at 30, aren't we?
Yeah, we're just about.
Who is it? Is it Pat Brown?
Our comic of the week. Yes. Is that how you're going to announce it? Usually we announce it more dramatically.
Right.
Everyone's
Yeah.
on pins and needles.
Right. Never say the name, then the credits, then the name. But
Yeah.
I did it. I dropped the ball.
Like
Yes.
an amateur hour over here. Our comic of the
She's
week
great.
is Pat Brown, and her Twitter is @Pat Brown Show.
Yep.
And she's a New York comic. She's hilarious. We just watched her Colbert.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
It was great. I liked how she introduced herself and sort of brought the audience together. What a great way. You know, even on Colbert, that's gutsy stuff too. I like it when people treat like a TV show as another show, right? As you know, it feels like, you know, because I always get in my head, right, where I'm just like, oh, it has to be something, but you're also supposed to have fun, and she looked like she was having fun. The material was great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was super fun.
Very relaxed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well done, Pat Brown, @Pat Brown Show.
Yeah, so check out.
Find her, book her.
Pat Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had an Irish priest do the ceremony.
Oh, you had a priest and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With the ashes. Okay.
Yeah. And you know, we tried to mix my mom and dad together, but the Catholic Church doesn't allow that. So so I'll just do it privately at home because I've got a little bit of their ashes still left.
Does she want? She doesn't want to be thrown in the field next to where the bulls are?
No,
in Ireland,
in my closer. No, she wants no part of my closer on my album.
Excellent.
No, she wasn't Irish, so that meant nothing to her.
Okay, what was her ancestry? Do we know?
Luxembourg and
that's right.
English. That's it, basically.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So
we put her down, My son, yeah, it was just like a lot of milestones, and the album became for sale. I also didn't want to push it too much because I was hoping people would buy it instead of streaming it.
Yeah.
So I was pushing it a little last week, and then when it went for sale, I kind of started being annoying, which I will be for about 2 more weeks.
And did they play it on you probably didn't get it on the Laugh network on Sirius XM because it's not.
I don't have Sirius, so I don't
No,
know.
no. Well, no, 800 Pound Gorilla didn't tell you if they played it on Sirius?
I don't know. I should ask them.
They sent me a 2-page marketing document
Yeah.
with assets and links and
Yeah.
things to post.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and then I went away. And then I spent yesterday breaking it down into, so the 2 weeks before it goes up on the Tuesday, this should be tweeted and this should be posted. The next
Yeah.
Tuesday, this should be done, this should be done. And I made it through, I think, 3 of the 7 things that I'm supposed to
Wow.
do each of these days.
Yeah.
And then so yesterday I went and I looked at each of them, and I have the video, right? So that will help. They did make
Yeah.
a nice sketch out of one of your bits.
Yeah, they did. It was fun. Yeah. I'm
That-
like, do them all now.
do more. And I was like, do me, except for they don't have to do me because they have just me telling the joke. So they're
Oh,
not
yeah.
going to bother putting production into that. But they do have some of the clips. One of the clips, they cut around the joke to sort of just do the setup of the punchline. I am sympathetic, but not supportive. So because the camera work on it is epileptic, right? Like where they're just like, okay, setup, slide to the rest of the setup, slide to the rest of the setup, punchline. And I'm like, no, please don't make everybody have a seizure just trying to see 15 seconds of this joke. Just play the setup or just play the punchline.
Yes.
Or pick something else. And the weird thing that did happen was they Raw Dog played the album early.
Is that bad?
I don't know that they'll play it on the day it comes out.
Why? Why can't they do
Because
both?
they already played it.
So?
I know. That's what
Are they
I
only
think.
going to play it once in their entire career?
Well, they played it start to finish.
Oh, I see.
And I guess that the email, I got a call from Dan saying, hey, they played it early. And I said, did he do that thing that we all do where he read half an email? And then he just did the thing. And he goes, that's exactly, I think, what he did. And I was like, well, we've all done that. And I'm psyched that he played it, but I hope that he'll play it again on November 16th. So
yeah,
we will see.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, do you have my thing was Pandora was going to stream it for free for a week, and then it would go for on
exclusively
on
Pandora streamed it for a week. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I guess that's some income. I guess I don't know. We'll see. It seems like Pandora isn't a lot of income.
The thing is it will, and it'll take 3 months, I think, for you to feel it, right?
Right.
But you will get additional income. It will help. And it might, so I found out about the streaming of the thing because I think one of the hosts of the Sirius show sent a screenshot to me that he had played it. And so I passed that on to 800 and I was like, what does this mean? And they're like, oh, it means he spun it too soon. Yeah. But I responded to that guy saying, hey, why don't you play the rest of my albums? And I was like, well, maybe it might work.
How about a 5-hour Jackie Cation show? Just
right, and don't
Jackie K.
And please don't play them backwards as you listen to me get worse at stand-up comedy. Which some fan told me that he listened to my albums. I told you this, I think, is that he listened to them backwards to hear me get worse at stand-up comedy. And I was like, don't do that. Why would you? Why not start? And then you don't know why you like me when you listen to Circus People. You're like, oh, this is all right. And then you listen to Brad and you're like, oh, that's why I like her. And then you listen to Horcrux and you're like, this is amazing. And then you listen to Hero and you're like, oh my God. Sure. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
And do that in preparation for the new one, which is called Staycation. By the way, people are introducing me as her new album Staycation is out. Please welcome Jackie Kashan.
Jackie, I feel like you've done everything you can to help people say your name right, and at this point, it's on them. If they're saying the album right and your name wrong, it's not your fault anymore.
Something's gone horribly awry.
Yes.
So, I am looking forward. I think that's the only sets I've because I only have one set in Minneapolis at Acme. I'm doing one 20-minute set on Saturday, first show. But it's gonna be fun. Like Kostaki's gonna be there, and Chad Daniels, and Mary Mack, and
Amazing. That'll be great.
yeah. So that'll be fun. And but I was
like,
do you have any sets?
no, I have very little coming up this week, and I need to. I don't know. I just had so much happening this past week. I wasn't really focused on it, and now I'm like, all right, I have. I want to when I get to the Creek at the end of this month, November, when this is coming out. I want to, I would like to be doing as little material from the album that just came out as possible. So I just want to start, tagging stuff that I have, expanding it a little bit. Also, I was going back and I listened to this one set I did in Tacoma in March of 2020, right before everything shut down. Yeah, and I was calling it coronavirus, and just made a few touching jokes when someone high-fived somebody else, and back then, of course, we were all wiping things down and worrying or being told to wipe things down and stuff,
Yeah.
It was, pardon?
Yes, we should. I just said yes, but I do think that we should continue to wipe things down, just in general, because things are gross.
For sure, and don't touch people's palms ever again. No palm touch. But yeah, so I'm just like looking for stuff I was working on but dropped because we all of a sudden went into crazy lockdown and Zoom shows and stuff like that. Yeah. And I don't know. We'll see. I just want to. I don't want people mouthing punchlines to jokes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It happened one time where there was a kid in the front row who was mouthing the words as I told the joke. It was Horcrux, I believe. What it did do was make me switch to brand new material in that moment because it was super distracting. He was a nice guy, right? And I was psyched that he liked the material as much as he did, but it was super distracting.
Hey, these are jokes. They're not songs, okay? We don't want you singing along.
Singing along is hard. Yes. And I do have a Thursday set. I have a set at the Improv with Tony Sam.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, so that'll be good because I need the Dynasty. There was it was a Halloween show.
Yeah.
So everybody was in costume.
Yeah.
I was not in costume, but one might think I was in costume because I was wearing my Captain Marvel jackets and a pair of Carhartts. Anyway, so I was just dressed like I do. But it was interesting. There was a guy from New York who was on the show. Everybody was kind of musical. I think somebody played a theremin. Either they played a theremin, maybe that was the violin lady, Becky. Anyway, everybody was so great, but it was all super like multimedia. Like there was a trio who opened. Matt McCarthy was the hosting, and he kept changing outfits, and that was sort of multimedia. And
that's so much work. That's more work than a PowerPoint, I think.
Yeah, but Larry Owens, that was the guy's name. He's from New York, and he had tracks that he sang to, and he sang a bit. He would sing the bit.
Okay.
And his voice was amazing, and the bit was who's the one that I liked the best? Anyway, they were all great. But everybody, there was a lot of singing. There was somebody had a guitar, somebody had a violin, and he had the tracks. And then I got up and I was like, I don't sing, you guys. It's just with the, and we were all just doing 10s. And so everybody did 12.
Was Wendy Ho on the show doing any of her greatest shits?
No, I wish have you listened? Did you take the time to listen to Wendy Ho's greatest shits?
No.
It's
She's super liberal. She doesn't tweet too much. She's probably on some other social media, but she's
Mhm.
like, I was like, who is this lady? Because I've never heard of her.
Maybe she
Um,
can be comic of the week one day.
Hmm.
slowing the thought process, possibly. A lot of silence.
you
Okay.
know what? We haven't pursued a lot of musical comics for
No,
comic
we
relief.
did have Karen Kilgariff, who became
Yeah,
a
but she's
guitar
also
comic against her will,
yes,
almost, right?
also a great stand-up as well.
Oh,
I think
speaking.
we're mostly mic only. We respect people who just use the mic, right, and no instruments.
We
Basically,
have standard. We have a standard that we
format.
drift to,
Yes,
and that
yeah,
is mostly just straightforward stand-up mic talking.
yeah,
But there are, I would say that because when we came up, of course, guitar comics were mocked mercilessly. They were the
yes.
punchline of a lot of. I very very short-lived joke about how I got laid, and my friend asked me if it was safe sex, and I said it was with a guitar comic. There's nothing safer. And
Gonzo was really good. Did you ever work with Dr. Gonzo?
I
He was
never
a
did.
Bay
But was
Area
he a
guy.
doctor? Was he a doctor?
He was not a physician, no, but
PhD, uh, in guitar.
he would actually open for bands at the Concord Pavilion,
Hmm.
and he did like funny. He was actually a good musician, so they liked him, and then he would go on the road and just kind of crush with funny songs and stuff like that.
I'm
And then
loath to mention my favorite guitar comics because now everyone's like, "Is that the one you slept with?" No. Uh,
but then Gonzo left comedy and moved to his old hometown in some little town in Illinois and became the mayor. And then I
huh.
lost track because I left Facebook, so I don't know. His name is John Means on Facebook, but an interesting trajectory. He got out of comedy, or
And into
before the rest
he
of us
Al
knew we had to.
he Al Frankened it, went into politics,
Yeah,
and
I guess so. I
yeah,
guess so. For a
sure.
little bit, yeah.
And well, I don't. They were all interesting. Rob Paravonian, who I have not slept with, is
Oh
a
no, you're gonna have to add this to all of them now.
is actually a very
He is.
he's good. I like him a great deal, and he's Armenian, so I'm prone to,
Oh,
to
this
like him
again.
more. It's so I it's he's yeah. So, but I do like a a show that has a lot of a lot of different kinds of stand up. But it was so loud and crowded in the green room that I
Oh
had to go
yeah.
sit. I had to go sit in a corner,
I
and
think
then
the audience likes it a lot, you
they
know?
enjoy they enjoy the differences as well when it's kind of different
It's a
formats.
different way of listening if somebody's playing an instrument than it is to like just words, words, words. So I think it's good for the crowd.
And then I went to the improv, and there was more wackiness. There
Hmm.
was more people. There was more singing, and then I was like, "What is happening? Why is diversity following me?" And
I
so
don't. Do you mean like diverse? Like I don't think
not
of diversity as singing. It's right.
well. I'm just using it literally. Sorry,
Yeah.
just yeah. I didn't mean it in terms of race, gender, or sexuality. I meant it in terms of
Demanding
holding an
diverse
instrument.
shows, and they put
Right.
more white men singing.
Someone, it was very nice. Someone did come up to me last night because I didn't work on my new bits last night. I worked on, my gender sexuality bit. It's on an album. One might say that it's done, except for it's not done. I'm writing new tags to it, and I've combined them and moved them into different parts of it, and I'm having really good time with it, quite honestly. So I'm just doing that bit because I love it so much right now, and I've got this new tag in the middle of it that I want to
Yeah.
make sure works, and it's almost there. Anyway, but afterwards, one of the younger comics came up and said, it's so nice to hear someone do a they them bit who isn't a they them. And I was like, yeah, I think I say that the they them. I mean, I say I'm a she her just because who cares? I think that the they them is something that you identify as to sort of define yourself and to sort of pep talk yourself into being yourself, right?
Hmm.
And my bit is about how I wish there had been a they them to sort of push me over that identity crisis when I was a kid,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And
I don't think I've heard this part.
oh no, this is me just talking like a
Oh,
person.
okay.
Yeah. And so but it's but that, I mean, I essentially just yell a bunch of times, where was they them when I was a kid?
Right,
Because
right.
nothing is more of a they them than this. And so but then I just do the bits as they are. But I think it's super interesting because two different acquaintances of mine
Mhm.
have told me about their 11-year-olds having gender and sexuality issues
Interesting.
where the gender kid who told me this story. It was their 11-year-old daughter said, I'm polyamorous and non-binary, and her mom said, do you know what those words mean? And the kid said, no, but Allison is, and I want to be that.
Yeah.
And Darla, actually, I told Darla that story, and Darla wrote the punchline, which is, that sounds like monogamy. Which is a very funny line. And then the other kid was crying and went to her mom, and she was 11, and she said, I don't know what my sexuality is. And my friend was like, I wanted to say, it's 11. You don't get to. But I didn't say that because it felt rude. And so I just said, you know how you can't have you can't cure, you are what you are. You love is love, whatever.
Yeah.
And you will know what your sexuality is when you feel sexual towards somebody else. And then you'll be 18 and you'll act on that.
18,
And
sure. That
yeah,
takes
and
that
then
long.
and she's like, I would love for you to wait till you were 18. And then I would love for you to never tell me about it. And and so, but she's like, you don't know what your sexuality is, if what it will be or if it will be, right? Until it actually happens. You'll find out if you're attracted to men or women um or not at all, right? Or what it will be. And I don't know if it's going to be an Andy Richter's actually, I'm not gonna say, because it was on the podcast. Listen to the Andy Richter podcast. He had a very funny story about his kids.
Oh, okay.
And it's his story, so I'm gonna let that be.
Yeah. It is interesting that your two examples and the examples I've heard of younger kids have all been girls. And I
Yeah.
wonder if girls are, you're growing, and then you come up to a certain age where you're like, wait, what am I supposed to do now? I'm supposed to wear crop tops. I'm supposed to be this. I'm supposed to be that. And maybe that's sending girls into a tailspin early,
Yeah.
which is awful. But it's also good that they're like, wait, I don't want to do this, and now I hear that I don't have to.
Right. I can
You
just
know?
be a people who grows up
Yes.
to be an adult.
Yeah.
Like, because I think that's part of the gender identity stuff, is like, I don't want any part of your sort of boy trope or girl trope.
Mhm.
Do I still get to be me? Because
Right.
I don't necessarily feel like a man or a woman. I always feel like me. And like what I think that is being said more often, which I think is great, is you just like, yes, the key thing is you have to be an adult and you have to take responsibility for your actions. But you could be whatever gender you can wear crop tops, and you can wear Carhartts, and you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. I think I mean more what society expects girls to
But
turn
no,
into is
I totally
what
agree.
maybe is some girls are like, because both of my
There's
nieces have made these announcements that are like the same thing of, do you know what that means? And I don't think they do, but they, and not only is it's, things that, it's a peer group thing. And, if they live in Oregon, in Portland. So it's like, of course, everyone there is, trying on different identities and stuff like that. But I wonder if there's just, just a kind of revulsion of what you're supposed to turn into when you turn 13 or 14 and get breasts and all that kind of stuff.
right. I
Yeah.
think you are right that they're spinning a little bit earlier than boys, because I haven't heard about boys doing this, but that doesn't mean
Yeah.
it's not happening.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I do support both you and me, and maybe we can lead the vanguard of being comedians who uh, make bits better that have been recorded and put the new versions on new albums.
Yeah, maybe. Or people in the audience are psyched because they got to see, a more of a meatier version of whatever bit it is. Hey,
Yeah.
let's take another break.
Okay.
All right, we're back.
We are back.
I want so many things. But
Financial stability, guaranteed health care.
no, I feel like
Oh,
I have financial stability. But I don't have a 15-year-old who's going to want to attend some sort of university in 3 years. So I did watch a show on PBS called American Veteran,
yeah.
hosted by Drew Carey. I forget that Drew
Hmm.
Carey was in the Marines.
I forget Drew Carey.
Oh, well, he was, when I
I'm
saw him
sorry, that was just a line that was sitting there. He's a nice
Right.
guy.
He's
And,
perfectly nice guy. There's that, right, you're
nothing
just
but good
ripping,
things to say about Drew Carey. I've never heard a creepy thing about him.
right, you just had to say it because it literally was just lobbed to you. You are
Yes,
correct.
yes.
And, but but it's a PBS series, and it's called, American Veterans.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fascinating because, I have, these people that teach, and some of their students are veterans. Like Andy
Right.
teaches, my brother Russ teaches, and some of their favorite students are veterans.
Mm-hmm.
And the first episode was about boot camp. And in Hollywood, we see this depiction of boot camp. And the hour goes through the different, it just does, it's all anecdotal, it's all veterans talking about boot camp, and it's the Marines, the Army, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, and the Navy. And it was just sort of about how, when you go through boot camp, you get this team mentality that is also a following orders mentality, where you leave and you're on time. You do tasks. Your procrastination is less. You you are tidier. It's one of the things I've always enjoyed about people in uniform, is that they're usually cleaner. And but it was really great. Like, I know so many, like, the comics that I know that are veterans
Mm-hmm.
are such different motivators, right? That you could it sort of it sort of made me think about the comics that I know that are veterans, that
Mm-hmm.
their attitude towards stand up is so varying, so different from my own, and different from other, they show up early, they do the work. It's because they were shouted at a lot, probably. And but it was a fascinating hour.
It's a different way to come at stand-up, because usually stand-up attracts anarchists a little bit, or people that just want to sleep all day and stay up all night and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
but stand-up attracts everybody, as we've seen. Whether you used to be the star of Entourage or whether you were in the military.
Right. Everybody thinks they're funny, and thinks that they could probably do stand up.
Mm-hmm.
And quite honestly, they probably can. So if you want to do stand up, just
Yeah,
do
there
it.
was this guy, Noel Miller, who sold out the Improv 3 shows, but
Mhm.
he's not a stand-up, right? He's a hip hop star, or like someone said,
YouTube-y?
hip hop YouTube. I'm like, but he sold out. Like, ugh. I was at the Improv a couple of weeks ago. It was great, great line. Did I complain about this last week, or maybe I just complained about it? But it was like a great lineup of comics that are really funny, and it wasn't sold out. And then somebody who's like I can understand why a club is putting up, like they're like, clubs are like, we gotta pay for the comedy shows, so we're gonna have a YouTube show, and that
Right.
will pay for our actual comics working out their sets. I don't know.
It's like in the 90s when Lewis used to book hypnotists. He was
Yes.
like, I have to fill the room. Leave me alone.
Yeah, that's
know?
we hypnotize so you can headline. That's our
Right.
that's why we
And
do it.
Jake Johansson selling a T-shirt that says "Touch It," and I busted his balls about it, and he goes, "I have a mortgage. Leave me alone." And I was like, "Fair enough. Congratulations on the mortgage." And
Yeah.
so
Right.
we
Right.
all have bills.
I gotta figure out my my
Your
touch
mortgage money. Yeah,
touch
exactly.
them.
Ooh,
Mhm.
yeah,
Breast
yeah.
reduction comedy.
Brand new, brand new. Look at these, huh? Never been touched. Just by the original owner. Just by the original owner.
Bigger than I want them to be across your chest. Would ladies buy that?
Wow. I hope not, but probably. I think you'd be printing money. Make a boob shirt.
Maybe.
And so anyway, where are we at here, Kyle?
We're almost there.
Well, that's cryptic.
We got 2 minutes left.
Thank you. What so we're so Josh was very nice and put me up on Friday and then said, you could just email me your avails every Monday.
Yeah.
And I was
really
like,
think that.
you
I got
are not
nothing going on.
you
Yeah.
are not wrong.
Mhm.
And I wish I could think of doing that. But I am scrambling trying to the NDA thing I signed,
Mhm.
I got a call back.
Oh, nice. Hey, cool. Oh, okay. Bye, guys.